Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're talking about something that's messing with your life, whether you realize it or not. And that's your self-talk. Here's the deal. Your self-talk, that little voice in your head, it's running the show. But here's the truth. You do have the power to change it. And that's exactly what we're going to learn today. I'm going to show you how to revolutionize your self-talk. And trust me, it will change your life. Think about the last time that you made a mistake or faced a setback or messed up. What did you say to yourself? Was it something like, oh, I'm such an idiot, I'm so stupid, I can't do anything right? Now imagine your best friend was in the same situation. Would you speak to them that way? If you're like most people, the answer is probably no. You see, we often treat ourselves with a harshness that we'd never direct at our friends or loved ones. But why? And more importantly, how can we change this? Today we're diving into the world of self-talk. We'll explore why we're so hard on ourselves, how it affects us, and most importantly, how we can learn to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to our friends. So if you've ever caught yourself being your own worst critic, this video is for you. So let's learn how to be our best friends instead. Your self-talk isn't just some annoying voice in your head, although it may feel that way at times. It's the operating system for your life. Imagine for a second that the phone you have today is a brand new phone, but it's running on a way out of date operating system. It's the same concept. Are we running our internal self-talk on an outdated operating system? So just like with our phones and computers and tablets, we need to update to the latest and more updated operating system. I remember coaching this amazing woman, let's call her Molly, and she had a brilliant CV. But every time she was about to do a presentation, she'd tell herself, you're going to mess this up. And guess what? She usually did. You see, that's the power of self-talk. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Here is the good news. If negative self-talk can mess you up, positive self-talk can uplift you. You see, when Molly started telling herself, you've got this, her performance skyrocketed. So self-talk is that inner voice, the ongoing monologue in our heads. It's how we interpret the world around us. It's how we process our experiences, and ultimately how we shape our beliefs about ourselves and also our actual capabilities and capacities. Now, research has shown that our self-talk can significantly impact our mental health, our confidence, and even our performance. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who used positive self-talk whilst completing a task performed much better than those who didn't. But it's not just about performance. The way we talk to ourselves affects our emotions, our stress levels, and even our physical health. Negative self-talk has been linked to increased stress, lower self-esteem, and even depression. Think about it this way. If you had a friend who constantly criticised you, told you that you weren't good enough and pointed out every little mistake that you made, how would that affect you? You probably wouldn't be friends for very long, but you'd probably feel pretty awful, right? Well, when we engage in harsh self-talk, we're essentially doing that to ourselves. Now, on the flip side, positive self-talk can be incredibly empowering. It can boost our confidence, help us persevere through challenges, and even improve our relationship with others. You see, when we're kinder to ourselves, we tend to be kinder to those around us too. So the next time you catch yourself in negative self-talk, remember, your words have power and energy. The question is, are you using that power to lift yourself up or tear yourself down? Now that we understand the power of self-talk, let's learn how to recognise when we're being overly harsh with ourselves. Negative self-talk can be sneaky. It often happens automatically without us even realising it. But if we want to change it, we first need to become aware of it. Some of the things that happen here are what we call the usual suspects, if you like. The first one is all or nothing thinking. This is when we see things in black and white. For example, I didn't get the job, I'm a total failure. Very black and white. Now, overgeneralization can creep in, which is taking one negative event and applying it to everything, like saying, I always mess it up. I always mess things up after just one mistake. Then we have mental filtering. This is when we focus only on the negative aspects of a situation and filter out all of the positive ones. For example, when giving a presentation, we might focus on the information we forgot to share rather than all the amazing details that we did. Then we have jumping to conclusions, assuming the worst without evidence. For instance, they didn't text me back, they must hate me, or they didn't laugh at my joke, I'm so unfunny. And then we also have catastrophizing. This is where we're blowing things out of all proportion. I made a typo in that email, I'm going to get fired, or I'm going to fail this test and never get into university. So ask yourself, do any of these sound familiar to you? I bet some probably do. We've all been there. So to start recognizing your own negative self-talk, I invite you to try this exercise. For the next 24 hours, I want you to notice your self-talk. Don't try to change it yet, just notice it. You're going to be shocked at how often you're beating yourself up. Remember, pause and listen to your inner dialogue. What are you saying to yourself? And when you can, write it down. You see, you might be surprised at how often you're engaging in these patterns without even realizing it. Remember, recognizing negative self-talk doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. In fact, it's the first step towards positive change. It's almost like shining a light in the corner of a room. Once you can see it clearly, you can start to clean it up. The same with our minds. So for the next 24 hours, I want you to start becoming aware of your inner critic. What's it saying? How often is it showing up? How often is it speaking to you? So now let's talk about this friend comparison. It is a game changer. So last year, one of my friends didn't get a promotion that she really wanted. And when she called me, was I like, well, guess what? You're not cut out for it. No way. I told her she was amazing, that it was their loss, and we started planning her next move. So why is it that we can be so kind and understanding to our friends, family, and loved ones, but so harsh and unforgiving to ourselves? This discrepancy is at the heart of what psychologists call self-compassion. So here's what I want you to do. The next time you mess up, stop and ask yourself, what would I say to my best friend in this situation? Then say that to yourself. It's that simple and that powerful. Remember, you are your own lifelong companion. Shouldn't you also be your best friend rather than your worst enemy? Let's explore some of the reasons behind our self-criticism. The first one I often come across with people is perfectionism. You see, many of us have internalized impossibly high standards. We believe that being hard on ourselves will motivate us to achieve more. But research shows that this often backfires, leading to procrastination, anxiety, and decreased performance. Then we have what we call the learned behavior. Our self-talk often mirrors how we were spoken to as children. Maybe you grew up with critical parents and now that voice is in your head. And if so, it's time to give it notice and evict it. Then we have misguided self-improvement. We often think that being tough on ourselves motivates us. Newsflash, it doesn't. It just stresses you out. Fear of complacency. There's a common fear that if we're kind to ourselves, we'll become lazy or complacent. But trust me, you won't and you don't. You see, I used to be the queen of negative self-talk. I thought it was pushing me to be better, but all it did was make me anxious and doubt myself. It wasn't until I started treating myself with compassion that I really started to succeed. Remember, being kind to yourself isn't a luxury. It's a necessity for mental health and your personal growth. So now that we understand why we're so hard on ourselves, let's talk about how we can change this narrative and develop a kinder, more supportive inner voice for us to tune into. So the first step is catch yourself. Catch yourself in the act of negative self-talk. Imagine a big red stop sign, and when you notice it, pause and challenge that thought. And this is the second piece, challenge it. Is it really true? Is there evidence to support it? And then the third part is to change it. Replace that thought with something supportive but true. It's important that it's true. So here's a personal example. I used to tell myself that I'm bad at tech stuff, as in IT stuff, but that wasn't helping anyone. So I changed it that Tech stuff is challenging for me up until now, but I'm endeavouring to improve. See the difference? And here's a powerful trick. Create a self-compassion mantra. Mine is I've got this. Simple, but it works. Find one that resonates with you and use it. Perhaps I'm doing my best and that is enough. So find something that feels aligned and right for you. Also, practicing mindfulness can really help. It helps you become more aware of your thoughts without getting caught up in them. It's like watching clouds passing in the sky. You observe your thoughts without any judgment. And when you are being hard on yourself, one that I absolutely love to do is imagine my future self looking back on this moment. What would that version of me say to me today? I love this, and I often find myself laughing and asking myself, what was I getting so stressed about? Remember, this is a practice. You're rewiring years of habit here. It takes time, but it is so worth it. Be patient with yourself as you learn this new skill and it becomes part of your norm. You see, here's the bottom line. You wouldn't let someone else talk to you the way you talk to yourself. It's time to be your own best friend, your own cheerleader. Changing your self-talk isn't just about being nicer to yourself. It's about unlocking your potential, reducing your stress, and creating the life that you really want. By cultivating a kinder inner voice, you're not just being nicer to yourself, you're building resilience, boosting your mental health, and setting yourself up for greater success and happiness. And starting right now, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that you'll start noticing your self-talk and that you'll start treating yourself with the same kindness that you would show a friend. Because you deserve it. And because when you're on your own side, there's nothing you can't do. So what it's really time to do is to take off the gloves, stop beating yourself up and put on a new pair of soft gloves. You wouldn't put these on and beat your best friend up. Don't do it to yourself. So today we've explored the power of self-talk and how it shapes our experiences and self-perception. We've learned to recognise negative self-talk patterns and understood why often we're so harsh on ourselves. Most importantly, we've discovered that there's another way. We can choose to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we'd offer a good friend, family member, or a loved one. Remember, changing your self-talk isn't about ignoring your mistakes or never pushing yourself to improve. It's about approaching your growth and challenges with compassion and constructive criticism rather than harsh judgment. This change won't happen overnight. It's a skill that requires practice and patience. But with time and effort, you can develop a kinder, more supportive inner voice just for you. So the next time you catch yourself in negative self-talk, pause, take the boxing gloves off and ask, would I speak to a friend like this? And if the answer is no, take a deep breath and try again with kindness and compassion. You deserve that, and you deserve what you so readily offer others. So start treating yourself like your own best friend, because that's exactly what you are. Thank you for watching, and don't forget, if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. And I'd love to hear some of your negative self-talk moments in the comments below, where I love to respond and will be happy to offer some changed and calibrated thoughts for you. And if you think of a friend or a loved one that this video could also help, feel free to share the link. Remember, you have the power to create a life you love. Until next time, keep thriving. See you soon.